Yep, I recognize none of them. It's new people every single time, I swear to God.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our first
I bet they're all lead game directors.
Diablo stream of 2025. We had an excellent holiday break, super relaxed, and very excited to bring you Season of Witchcraft.
Yes.
As you might have seen,
So excited.
this Tuesday, we announced Season of Witchcraft is coming on January 21st. We've got an excellent show for you today. Today we're joined by some familiar faces. You know, Mr. Charles Dunn, welcome.
Hi, I'm Charles. I'm a game designer on the live balance team.
And I'm Aislinn.
Where's the lead game designer?
I'm Dan Tangway. I'm the
Oh shit, is that him? Is that the lead game designer?
design director for live services.
Oh, it's a director. Okay, we've upgraded.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, Dan. As you can all see,
He looks like he has a gun pointed at him. You're gonna do this fucking campfire chat, or we're gonna shoot you.
Season of Witchcraft is
He's terrified,
upon
dude.
us. Huge shout out to our
Look at, he's
production
terrified.
team. We've got some absolutely disgusting heads
He hasn't-
on board from the Tree Whispers. You can't see
Yeah, he's like laughing. Please don't shoot me.
on this guy yet. I might give him a spin later on, but
He really
the
loves
teeth on
being
him are
here.
absolutely
Oh,
horrible.
man.
Yeah, without further ado, to get exciting features, questions. Like, I gotta ask you, Aislinn, like, how did it feel to get the armory finally into
Oh
people's
my
hands?
gosh, I've been waiting for so long. I'm so glad it's finally here. The armory feels amazing to use. It's so
Yeah.
I don't care about
Uniques,
these
new legendary
stats.
has been very
things.
helpful in making sure that
I don't
this
know if I
season
can
and
watch
every
this.
season is as best as it can be when it actually launches.
Yeah, that's a great point, Charles. Like, one thing we did want to touch on is, even if you don't see your feedback represented throughout the stream, because we will be touching on different feedback across all the sections.
This thing's gonna be 2 hours long, and it's going to have less information than that recent 7-minute video from GGG did.
From our PTR, we do still internalize all that feedback and take it through and help.
Nobody fucking
make
cares.
decisions
There's
throughout,
nobody watching
future
this. You
seasons.
get no
So all the feedback
views.
is
Nobody
very much
watches your
appreciated.
updates.
So it really
Nobody
does help
cares.
inform
Just
that
tell
content.
us
But yeah, there's a
the
ton to
stuff
chew on
in the
PTR.
game.
Like, we had all our witchcraft powers in there. Like, there's an absolute smattering of content. But very excited to throw it over to Dan Tangway. Can you let us know what players can expect in Season of Witchcraft?
Yeah, let's talk about the season of the Witchcraft. There's a lot
Finally.
to cover at this point. You got a bigger chunk of it than you had in previous seasons in the PTR, but still, we've got some surprises in store that we want to share with y'all. So let's get started. First off, the season of Witchcraft. Dozens of heads are missing from the Tree of Whispers. And so the tree is hell-bent and really just ticked off, wants to find them. I mean, these heads were part of a bargain. The tree is all about keeping your word, and now that bargain is broken. So yeah, the tree's mad.
The tree's
stop.
mad, guys.
Now the witches have summoned you to the tree, and they're offering you a deal. If you can get those heads back for them, they'll offer
Dude,
you
they're
the secret.
actually the season is reused powers from like 5 seasons ago, more bounty quests for the tree, and Helltide, but it's with heads instead of hell.
Of witchcraft. So that's where we begin. And the first thing, we're going to have an all-new quest line. And that new quest line is going to be you unraveling the mystery of those missing heads. And while you're doing that, like I said, you're going to be earning wild witchcraft and occult gems. We have a new activity called Head Hunts, and that's going to allow you to pursue whispers, slay Head Rotten, which is the new enemies, the new family of enemies that
It's
we
like
have
I'm
this
watching
season,
satire,
and
dude.
find those missing heads. In addition to the head hunts, you're also going to have root holds. These are new micro dungeons that allow you to discover
Micro
bonus head rotten
dungeons.
and also their bosses.
Do we have to
And
pay
then
for 'em?
finally, we've got some updates to the season journey that we'll cover, including a new pet named Dorian, which is a pet raven. This is our first flying
20% of their points of the new season is a fucking pet raven.
pet, so we're pretty excited about that. Let's talk about some of the powers. So, witchcraft, at least as we're
Okay,
defining.
I really don't understand, like, why is this, like, middle school quality. It baffles me every time.
At this
I don't
season,
understand what they're
it
doing.
allows its practitioners to call upon the power of the swamp to do their bidding. And there are 3 schools of magic within
Like,
witchcraft.
it's actually, like,
We've
this
got
takes me back to
Eldritch
middle school
witchcraft,
PowerPoint
and that's uncanny
presentations.
magic that, is just weird and bizarre and
It's
very
weird,
of
guys.
the swamp. You've got psyche powers. These are powers of the mind and spirit. And we've got growth and decay, and that's magic that both heals and harms your enemies. Going to take a look at some of these in action. So first up, we're going to have Eldritch powers once we get our clip going.
First up, once my remote starts working, come on. I'm clicking it. There we go.
And right here, we're seeing that we've got Fire Bats, which is a classic power from the Witch Doctor that we brought back this season, paired up with Doom Orb. Next up, we've got some Psyche powers here. And we're using Vengeful Spirit, which is kind of hanging around you and zooming between enemies, and the Aura of Lament, where you see these psychic projections of hands come out of the ground and slow your enemies.
No, this
and
is
finally,
an improvement. This is
we've got growth and decay
even
magic.
if this guy's mic isn't great
watch
quality,
right there, your wolves got
this is
really
the
big all of a
first
sudden.
campfire
That's
chat
magic.
thing, whatever, that I've seen from them that did not have an audio quality
wailing away
issue.
on the head rot.
Well,
there.
I mean, it
So
does, but like
those are some good
usually they have like
examples
volume
of
problems,
the
and
types
they have
of
to like
magics that
ask
you're going to be
chat,
able
how's
to
this,
use
how's
in
this?
season, and you'll start seeing them sprinkled all throughout the rest of the clips that we're about to show you. Next up, let's talk about the headhunts. So I said before the tree was really mad, right? Because it's missing its heads. And so what it's doing is actually calling out all new whispers, and it's just furiously searching for these heads. But it can't do it on its own. So when it calls out a particular zone, because it knows roughly where the heads are, it calls its agents to help it out, and you're one of the tree's agents, so you can go and solve some of those whispers and get rewarded for them.
Oh my, what is he
now,
talking about?
Now, the headhunts are special zone takeovers that complement the Hell Tides. So, folks on the PTR called them Witch Tides. Sure, you can call them that. But the idea is that these aren't just replacing Hell Tides, they're there to supplement them in terms of what you can do in the overworld. Now, these are going to be swarming with head rotten, those enemies we talked about before. The head rotten are monsters that have fallen under the influence of the missing heads, and the heads have transformed them in really grotesque ways. Now, these head hunts, like I mentioned, are going to feature all new whispers mixed with some existing ones as well. Completing a whisper.
You've got mail.
Unlocks what's called an exposed root. And that gives you a chance of actually triggering what is a cocoon. And these uprooted cocoons have a chance of then spawning a head rotten boss.
I thought you said
so every time you complete a whisper, you've got a chance at triggering a boss. And occasionally, a boss will spawn from one of these, and then everyone in the zone
somebody please
can
tell them about this forbidden technology called a video.
And if you're really lucky, that boss will have one of the missing heads associated with it. So let's take a look at some of this in action here. Now, first up, we're going to check out one of our new whispers. This is a shepherd whisper. This is allowing you to, guide some of these innocent wildlife in this area to safety.
It's a fucking raccoon escort quest.
Very simple, but, the witches want to make sure that no one's harmed by the head rotten. Next up, we've got some villagers that are trapped in bramble in an entangled whisper. And so you're trying to defeat all the enemies around there.
These are actually recycled of their normal missions.
Villager there.
This is actually, everything is recycled.
Following that, we're actually going to get a view of one of the exposed roots as it transforms into this uprooted cocoon. And so, much like some other open world boss fights, there's going to be some combat leading up to the boss spawning. And that first cocoon actually didn't have a boss in it, but you still got some rewards from it. So we're going to see if this second cocoon has a boss in it. So we're, continuing to clear head rotten, and indeed a boss does spawn.
That is literally a Helltide mechanic just reskinned.
Now, unfortunately, it's not a boss with a missing head. This is a headless husk, but still, it's going to be pretty rewarding to defeat this. So hopefully everyone in the area realizes that, there's a boss in the air, and they're going to come help you defeat this. And yeah, that is a good peek at what head hunts are going to be.
That's it.
But let's go back to the tree now, because really want to take you through some of the
Oh my
steps on how to
god.
learn new witchcraft. So let's talk about that. So the first thing that's really important when you want to learn new
Back to the
witchcraft
whisper
is that you're
tree.
always going to be earning Covenant's favor from completing whispers. And that's going to unlock new witchcraft at certain tiers of the Coven favor board. Now, additionally, as you're killing those head rotten that I showed you before, you're going to be earning Restless Rot. Now, Restless Rot is something that you can offer as proof of a kill to the altar to earn that new witchcraft. And then you can use it also to upgrade your witchcraft directly in your UI. One final note I want to make here is that we decided to use witchcraft and these seasonal powers as a way to help boost your alts. So that means that whenever you upgrade and unlock a piece of witchcraft, that's going to stay upgraded and unlocked for all your characters on your account for the rest of the season. And we'll see right up here.
Oh shit, they have the favor thing.
All right, so here we are in the Tree of Whispers area, and we're looking at the Coven rep board. And we'll see right up here that on rank 7, you actually unlock some more witchcraft. So we're going to go over to our altar now. Now at the altar, we're going to take a look at a list of things that you haven't learned yet. And each of these costs Restless Lot.
The same thing as the last 10
actually,
seasons.
No, I'm skipping ahead. Let's talk about Forgotten Altars first. So there's a bit of a twist on earning some of your witchcraft.
Is
Not
there more
all the
Lilith
witchcraft
altars?
That
oh my god, it actually is. Is it actually they added more Lilith altars? Discovering one of those allows you to learn lost witchcraft.
You can learn is actually known by the witches of Hawazar, or the tree for that matter. Some of it has just been lost to the world. And so these take the form of lost powers
cool
that you can find on Forgotten Altars out in the dungeons of Sanctuary. So as you're adventuring through your dungeons, you will find some lost powers that you can't get anywhere else. And so it should be pretty exciting to stumble across one of these. Can't remember if there's a clip or not here, so let's take a look. Yeah, there it is indeed.
There it is.
And so real
Can't
quick,
remember. Maybe
going
there
through
is.
a dungeon, you see a Forgotten Altar, you interact with it, and then a new power is unlocked. Now the cool thing about these,
oh my god,
is that if you find more altars, you can upgrade your powers by doing this, but you can also upgrade them through spending a premium price of root holds. Root holds are micro dungeons, and so these micro dungeons are home to some of the head
I just feel like I'm bullying a second grader.
And the head rotten bosses and the missing heads. They've gotten a little wise to what
it's like it's genuinely like I'm bullying a 7-year-old when I watch this stuff.
Trees up to, so they're trying to hide underground. And so each of these contains a really concentrated population of head rotten and their rewards, and they require a new type of sigil called the Whispering Wood in order to access. So these drop from whisper caches. So as you complete those whispers, you'll get more access to root holds, as well as silent chests, which actually are pretty common in the headhunt areas. So let's take a look at a root hold. First off, we're going to open our inventory, and in there is going to be a Whispering Wood. And we're just going to trigger that like we would any Nightmare dungeon. And then we're going to teleport right into our root hold. And I could take you through a little bit of that. All right, now we're in the root hold, and we're going to come upon a couple of interactions, actually 4. These are rites and ceremonies. These are interactions that allow you to.
Okay, I don't play many of the seasons, but does this exist already? I swear this looks like something I've seen in this game already. Anaya, you'll know. Is this something that has already existed in the game?
Increase the challenge in the root hold in order to get more rewards. And if it reminds you a little bit of Hell Breaches, well, it is pretty similar, but unlike those,
yeah, if you don't play the new D4 season, you won't get any head.
You can actually do multiple rites and ceremonies instead of just one. And when you take those on, then all the enemies and all the interactions afterwards have been impacted. And so we're going to fight through some of the head rotten here. Like I said, root holds are a pretty good spot to get a concentrated dose of them. and you also get a number of guaranteed roots that you can try and uproot as well, which is great.
It's great, guys. It's great. I do not have a gun pointed at me for this
We'll watch a
presentation.
little
It's
bit more
really
of
great,
this,
guys.
and then we'll culminate with a boss. One more battle first, but I'll say that each root hold is guaranteed to have a boss at the end, which is nice if you want to start really trying to grind to get your giving her this head, craft an occult.
You said the thing.
And we're going to be able, in return for giving her this head, craft
You
an
said
occult
thing.
gem. And this gem, I think we're going to craft as an
That's minus 10 Blizzard social credit score.
Elder Sigil, and we're going to be able to
Good
slot
one,
that
Doran.
into one of our
Head
rings.
start, I see
So
what you
let's
did
do
there.
that right now. Here we go. And the Elder Sigil is not only going to provide.
Okay, this one's actually kind of funny. Should I actually watch this? Should I actually sit down and watch this? Let me see.
Does some defense like you would get from your a diamond or skull that you've slotted
I don't
into
know. I don't know if
a
I can
ring
handle
or
it, dude.
not a talisman. Yeah. But also, it's going to give you some additional bonuses above and beyond that. But I'm dancing
Give you
around it.
some
What
additional
are
head.
occult gems? And so let's talk using the missing heads return to the Tree of Whispers. They can only be slotted in jewel.
Dude, it's really like a bad middle school PowerPoint.
And if you invest a lot in Hex and Aura, it probably is wise to try and find an occult gem that also improves the quality of life of the Whisper Loop. So let's talk through a couple of those right now. First off, we've updated the town area around the Tree of Whispers.
Oh my God.
Previously, it was kind of small. It was, home to a number of outcasts, and that group of outcasts has grown this season. Not only do the witches make home there, but there's a couple of new people there that provide additional services. And we've also actually put an extra armory in there too, so you can make use of that. Now, while you're out in headhunts, we've also added a new feature called the Raven of the Tree. And this allows
you click it
to
and you get more
basically
headhunt
make
currency.
submissions to the Tree of Whispers, turn in your Grim Favor, in order to be able to get a cash immediately on the spot, instead of having
don't
to
have to go to the
return
tree anymore.
the Tree of Whispers itself.
Why did they rework the tree zone if you
it's
don't have to
convenient,
go there
sure, but
anymore?
it also allows you to really stay in the moment. If, for example, a new boss is triggered or something like that from an uprooted cocoon, and you want to join in that, you go over to the Raven of the Tree, turn in your Grim Favor, and then get right back into the battle again. And finally, we've got some ancestral caches. These are a new type of cache that we've added that guarantees an ancestral item.
What do you mean
and we
new?
wanted to make sure just that the Whisper Loop had, full range of items that it could drop.
Oh my God.
So we're pretty excited to be able to share all of these with you, as well as some new improvements to the season journey. So let's talk through those real quick. Now, with the season journey, we realized that a lot of casual players use the season journey as a way to figure out what to do next. And we also realized that our early chapters hadn't really been helping the casual players as much as we would have liked. So we've reworked a lot of those.
The best part is I'm tabbed out right now, and you're actually not missing anything on the screen because they just stay on the same slide for 45 minutes while they read
the later
what's on the
chapters,
screen.
though, didn't feel
like you're actually not missing
anything
anything
to us. So we've tried to improve that. Chapter 7 especially, we've reworked to really provide some.
I know. They just do it for the gamer dads with 12 children on crawling up them, so when they're trying to move all their kids around, they don't have to even look at the screen.
More aspirational goals for players. And
this
is something that we're just going to continue working on in future seasons as well. Now, we've asked you to do a lot more in terms of the objectives, so we wanted to make sure we gave you a really great reward too. So this is where you can earn Dorian the Raven. And like I said at the top, this is our first flying pet, which is pretty awesome. So let's take a look. You know, I am pretty excited to get Dorian. I have a feeling that flying pets are pretty much going to be my new favorite moving forward.
This is
So
awesome, dude.
yeah, definitely looking forward to this one.
Oh yeah, Dorian's going to be wonderful. You know, Ravens love shinies, so him picking up your gold is just perfect.
Oh yeah, right on.
Yeah.
Great point.
This is so
Yeah.
good.
And finally, I think I'd like to chat through some
Oh man, more
PTR
text.
stuff.
Just what
So,
I wanted. Another.
Charles is going to cover a lot of the updates we made to the powers and occult gems because that's what his team focused on. But the seasons team really focused on some of the
Oh my
headhunts and
God.
systems, and took a lot of your feedback and really tried to improve the game prior to launch. So here's a couple things that I just want to cover real quick. First off,
Dude, that's bullshit. They never take from what I know, they never take PTR suggestions from anybody. PTR is just another way they market. Like every time I've played D4, there's been some like really, really, really super ultra broken interaction, and everybody is like, yeah, this has been this way forever in PTR, and they just didn't fix it.
the multiplayer headhunts felt overwhelming for a lot of new players. And so we've done a number of
What?
things to tweak the headhunts to make sure that they don't feel as
Reduction in the number of elites. Oh my god.
overwhelming. First off, we've made some targeted reductions to the number of elites. There were just a lot of elites on the PTR, and so you're still going to have a lot of monster density as you're fighting through these headhunts. But hopefully this will make things a little more manageable because we also had to reduce the number of not the number of bosses, but the frequency at which they spawned. We've got bad luck protection to make sure that you will eventually see a boss spawn as you're playing through a headhunt, but we had to dial that down just a little bit because they were coming up quite often. We've also reduced the number of low-value item drops. We had heard from a number of, which is going to be roughly 2 weeks out from launch. Now, head rotten, especially bosses, were not challenging enough, so that's another thing that we've looked to address. We've increased the head rotten barrier effect. Previously, it was around half health. We've made that full health now. And we gave the head rotten a very small percentage of damage reduction as well. We've
Yeah,
given you a
I'm
lot
getting
of
sleepy,
cool new
dude.
powers in form of Witchcraft to play with. We want to make sure the head rotten serve as a good challenge for you as you're building out your Witchcraft powers.
Okay, let's see. I'm at
Next up,
negative
head rotten
103
bosses were
rarity.
just not rewarding enough across the board, so we've increased their rewards to a level that's closer to a Blood Maiden than what they were previously. And then finally, some players didn't quite understand how to earn and upgrade Witchcraft, so we made some changes to help with that. Each altar is going to contain the same inventory now instead of having unique inventories, and that way you don't need to try and figure out which altar you need to go to in order to learn something. And we've also rewritten a lot of the tooltip descriptions to make sure that we're very clear about where you can go to get things. But yeah, I think that covers it for PTR learnings. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but I think I'll pass it back to Irvine.
No, I think you covered all of it, Dan. That was incredible. That was an absolute ton of content.
Oh my
just so
god,
much to dive
dude.
into with this season. Like, I think I can
It
speak for everyone.
has to. They're fucking like, this is satire, dude.
Like between
That was just incredible, Todd, or whatever his name was. That was just incredible.
root holes, witchcraft powers, occult gems, like there's just so much in the mix to dive into.
Why do
to
they
get
give
used
their
to, and, like, it all kind of
locations?
comes back to headhunts that you can kind of use as a zone to get through, like to get into all the content, which is super exciting. So Dan, thanks so much for walking us through all of that. I know we've got more details coming out.
Is that a head of Hitler? What is that?
In our patch notes following the stream, and we do have some of those witchcraft powers already existing in our blog. So if you want more information on those, you can check those out. But Dan's going to stick around because we will be bringing Dan back for our Q&A section at the end of the stream. So if you have any
Yes.
questions, on Dorian the Raven or on witchcraft powers, occult gems, or anything to do with Season of Witchcraft, please drop those in chat and we'll grab them throughout the stream. But for all
Chat
of you
is
who are kind of
disabled
theory
for this
crafting and
live
build crafting
stream.
and thinking about like, okay, what's my playstyle going to be for Season of Witchcraft, you're probably already thinking about the different occult gems, the different witchcraft powers, but to finish off that equation, of course, you need to get all the balance updates for the season.
Yeah.
Twitch
So,
chat.
Charles, can you take us through what's coming?
Of course, yeah. I'd love to talk about how you're going to attack these head rotten. Like, what is your build going to look like, and what are some of the new uniques and legendaries that you're going to get to play with in this season. First, before getting into each individual class, I want to talk about some of our broader initiatives on the class design side that kind of affect every class in some way. Specifically, wanted to talk about how we did some ultimate skill updates in this patch. For ultimate skills, we're now we're able to get skill ranks on them, starting in Season 6, the previous season. But now, once you get them up to rank 5, you're going to get a special bonus. And we found these to be really flashy and fun on the PTR. People love playing with ultimates, and you get to cast them more often. They've got more effects. They had some scaling to ways to scale their damage with these rank 5 bonuses sometimes. We did find that some of those exact scaling numbers were a little on the higher side. They were a little bit more powerful and kind of crowding out non-ultimate builds.
Right.
We love that people are playing these, and we want them to be powerful, but there are certainly some times when it's a little too much and it feels like you can't play anything else.
Right.
So we are taking a pass across the board on some of those ultimate scalings to bring them down just a little bit, but we still expect them to be very powerful and very fun. Secondarily, we've got
gonna be
the
fun,
summons
guys.
update.
Please play our
This was a
game.
big pass across summons from Necromancer, their skeletons.
Oh my
Druid
god, we're back to just the stream of
companions.
text.
Rogue Shadow Clone is a big one.
Oh, yes.
And then even Sorcerer Conjurations and the Barbarian Ancients even. So for the summons update, without getting too technical into it, essentially what happened was all of the damage that your summon, what would work with what. And I'm particularly excited about Shadow Clone, as we'll talk about in the Rogue section coming up. But that was one that
I can't just listen to them talk about random balance things. Like, your balance is never going to work properly. I don't care what you have to say. There's going to be some new Spiritborn build that's just going to obliterate everything. There's nothing you could say that has any value here. We know how this goes. You guys can't figure the math out. We know.